let's look at this series and sequence question. Now, in series and sequence question, I always suggest all my students to try and write the first few terms by yourself, and you will be able to then understand in all likelihood a pattern which is going on in the series that has been formed, right? So let's try and have a look at this. T1, they've already given it to you, which is 1. T2, they've already given it to you, which is turning out to be -1. Now let's look at this, that this formula is valid for what? This formula is valid for n greater than or equals to 3. So if I want to keep the value of n as 3, I'll get T3. So let me try and calculate the value of T3. So if I look at T3 and I put the value of n as 3, this will give me T3, and the numerator will turn out to be 3 minus 3, which is 0. 0 multiplied by any number will give me 0 again. So absolutely no problem. T3 turns out to be equals to 0. I don't even have to calculate any further than that. Okay. Now, if I want to get the value of T4, so if I want to get the value of T4, what it gives me, look at this, 4 minus 3, which is going to be 1, 4 minus 1, which is going to be 3, right? Into T4 minus 2. That means T2 is what they're talking about. So if they're talking about T2, then I'm going to put -1. So -1 by 3 is what we are getting. I still don't have a pattern with me. Let's go a little further, write a first few terms, as I said. So what will be T5? If I want to calculate the value of T5, now understand T5, if I want to calculate, it is going to depend on T3, and T3 is going to be is already 0. So T5 multiply this bracket by a T3, that is going to give me 0 only, right? So T5 also turns out to be 0. Now, similarly, T7 will depend on T5. T5 is 0, T7 will be 0. So by now I'm clear that all the odd terms are turning out to be 0, and the even terms is where the question is hovering around, because if you look at this also, it is only talking about the even terms T2, T4, T6, all the way up to T2024, right? If you look at T6, let's try to find out what T6 is. So if you try to look at T6, T6 is going to be 6 minus 3, which is 3, divided by 6 minus 1, which is going to be 5, into T6 minus of 2, which is T4. And T4 was turning out to be what? -1 by 3. So you multiply this by -1 by 3. So if you multiply this by -1 by 3, it will become -1 by 5. Now there looks like some kind of a pattern. With a T4, you are getting -1 by 3. T6, 1 less than that in the denominator, -1 by 5. Let me now look at T8. Is it going to give me the same pattern? Then it will get confirmed. T8 will be what? 8 minus 3, which is going to be 5, divided by 8 minus 1, which is going to be 7, multiplied by T times of T6, and T6 is turning out to be -1 by 5. It turns out to be -1 by 5. 5 and 5 will get cancelled out. Again, T8 is turning out to be -1 by 7. By now, I'm absolutely clear what is happening. Now, 1 by T2 will be what? 1 by T2 will be -1 plus 1 by T to the T4. What it is going to be? That is going to be -3. Then the next one is turning out to be what? -5. Then the next one is turning out to be -7, so on and so forth, right? And I'm going all the way up to T2024. Now understand this thing, that T6 in the denominator, you have a value 1 less than 6, which was 5. In 4, what is happening? 1 less than the value in the denominator. In 8, again 1 less than the value in the denominator. So if I have to go to T2024, then I'm going to get 2023 over there. So I'm going to get minus of 2023. Now this question now boils down to adding 1357 all the way up to 2023. First thing. Second thing, we need to understand that this is your first term of the series that you want to add. This is your second term. This is your third term, right? Which is half of this value. So it is going to be 1012 terms, right? So now if I look at sum of n terms of a arithmetic progression, it is going to be n by 2 twice of a plus n minus 1 into d, where n is the term number and a is the first term. Now the number of terms that I'm looking at is 1012 divided by 2. Twice of a, first term is turning out to be 1. I'm forgetting at the moment minus, because I'll put minus at the last, and the first term then I'm taking it as 1, so this becomes a 2, plus of n minus 1, so I'm looking at 1012 terms, so it becomes 1011 multiplied by the common difference of 2. If you look at this 2 over here, this 2 will get cancelled from this. So what are we left with? We are left with 1012 multiplied by 1012. It is ending with 12. So the square must end with a 444. If you look at the options, there's only one 444 over here at the end, which then gives me the answer as option C for this particular question.